I'm going to begin, Mark, by asking, I mean, you've become somebody that Spielberg evidently loves to collaborate with. I mean, 2 films down already and obviously 2 more in the pipeline. I mean, of all the directors in the world to have that kind of close connection with, he's not a bad one, is he?
No, I've been very lucky, yeah.
And I mean, I guess what comes with working with a director on several occasions is that kind of implicit sense of trust. I mean, is that something that you think you and Steven have kind of developed over the last 2 projects?
Yeah. I mean, I trusted him from the start because I'd seen his films and I knew he knew what he was doing, but I didn't expect him to be so kind and so generous and encouraging. I didn't. Yeah, and just such a delight to spend time with. He's very, very interesting, and he's a fanatic, as he says himself, for film, and you know, though I've worked most in the theatre, my weekends, often my enjoyment, like other people, was to go to a film, because I didn't know how they worked. And so the illusion was very full, and I loved the acting in film and, you know, just the story. So we actually share that. We're both fans of film and feel lucky to be making it.
And I was speaking to Ben Kingsley earlier in the year for The Jungle Book, and obviously, I mean, he's sort of similar to yourself, a sort of a traditional actor who perfected his craft as well on stage. And I was wondering, in regards to this kind of new means of storytelling, the kind of performance capture and CGI, is that something you've quite embraced and something you've sort of got used to doing now?
Well, I suppose. I mean, it's changing rapidly, so it's changing all the time. I don't suppose I'm as used to it as someone like Andy Serkis, who's an expert in it and is really actually he's I think pioneering new techniques of it. For me, it was like the final days of a rehearsal of a play. You didn't have to. There wasn't lighting, and you didn't have to stand in the same X's on the floor, and there weren't any scenery. There were a lot of people standing around the room watching you, and so for me, it was in a way closer to making a stage play than traditional filming.
And though it's undeniably you in this movie, do you find it easier to watch this film and kind of get emotionally engaged with it because it's not visibly you, if that makes sense? Yeah.
Yes, I do, yeah. Yes. Yeah. I don't even like watching myself at all or listening to myself. But this was wonderfully far enough away from me and yet me in there. And of course I'd not seen any of the sets or scenes, so that, well, I'd seen the real sets, so it was a surprise, a nice surprise.
And I mean, what I love about the BFG is the voice, the words he comes up with. Was it almost like learning a new language when you were kind of getting involved, when you sort of took on this project? Yeah, I didn't know Gobblefunk before this. No, what does Gobblefunk mean?
It's the name of the language, Gobblefunk, I think, yeah.
And I mean, do you have fond memories of the BFG book? I mean, do you recall kind of reading it to your children? Was it something that you have?
No, I'm a stepfather, so my children came to me after they'd already had it read to them by Chris, their father. Yeah. So I knew that they adored it. And I was already in my 20s, so my time of reading books. I read other books to them. I read The Hobbit to them, but not this one. And
do you think if you were to read it now, say perhaps to a grandchild, that you would picture yourself as the BFG because you've kind of played him? Would you think you'd have that kind of Quentin Blake kind of illustration to go off?
Oh, I don't know. I think the Quentin Blakes will always live very, very long. And no, I hope fathers will carry on creating it for themselves and not be dominated by my playing of it. Though I expect my playing of it will now be similar to the Quentin Blake drawings, will be an aspect of how you meet that character. But really, the BFG exists in any father, and in particular in any grandfather, I think. It's a great story about the love between grandparents and children, isn't it, I think? Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!